Hey guys, Dwayne here. Today I want to talk a little bit about covert narcissistic recovery and how it is a difficult process to go through. So recovering from covert narcissistic abuse is difficult. And I made a video about this in the past, but I wanted to readdress it just because one of the things that is really significant in recovery of this is the amount of time that it actually takes. And I don't want to give you guys the false impression that this is something that just, I picked up, I don't know why I snapped, but, I picked up really quick and things have just fallen into place and it was just a little bit of pain and an easy process. And unfortunately, that really isn't the case. For me personally, it has taken about 2 years of just really painful experiences, and then another year once the idea that I was dealing with a narcissist was, put upon me, I guess, or I guess I learned of it and started doing more research and reading books and watching videos and reading more books and working with a therapist and stuff. And there was still another year after that to get to where I would say the point that I'm at now, when I've been at this point for maybe about a year. And I think it's important to talk about this because I know one of the things that happened with me, and I've said this in other videos, is that it took a long time. And as I was going through this and as I was trying to understand it, when I didn't know, right? So when I say when I understand it, I mean when I was going through it and didn't really know what I was dealing with. All I knew is that I was stuck in this endless loop of trauma and pain and just muck, right? And I've made other videos about different aspects of this, and but bottom line is that it really takes a long time. I mean, the recovery from this is a painful and difficult process. Even once you realize what you're dealing with, and that can give you a tremendous amount of relief. I mean, it really can. I mean, it can give you a sense of closure and enable you to start moving forward. But even that part isn't necessarily easy. So one of the things I want you to think about, and this is where, because it can get demoralizing, because if you get to the point where you realize it, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'm dealing with a covert narcissist, or I'm dealing with a narcissist, or I'm dealing with a borderline personality disorder, or I'm dealing with somebody in the cluster B, personality disorder area. You can feel really great about that, right? I mean, it could, like I said, it can really boost your energy. It can make you feel like you actually have some closure and that you are starting to get this under control. But expect to have times where you slide back. So for me, I mean, when I was working through this, I spent, like I said, a couple of years working through this. One of the things I wanted to do, like a show and tell, is I write a lot. And just to give you an idea, I mean, I would every night, or almost every night when I was going, it's really weird because when I was going through a lot of this and I didn't understand it, I would write, right? I would basically journal at night and try to capture what I was thinking. And I just wanted to show, I mean, we're talking about a significant amount of writings, right? I mean, and this isn't all of it. I mean, this is hundreds and hundreds of pages over the course of years, of a couple of years, going through what I was feeling, what I was dealing with, and I don't even know why I'm keeping it, to be honest. And then there was more of this, because then I switched after my hand got tired of doing this. I I would type stuff up, and I'm not sure what I'm ultimately going to do with that. I may just burn it. I don't know. But my point is, it's not an easy process, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in those pages where it's just the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And you may be going through the same thing. I mean, you may feel like you're stuck in this endless loop that you just can't get out of. You know, one thing, if you read some of the comments and you follow the comments on the videos, you'll notice that there are people who have been separated from their narcissist or divorced from their narcissist or whatever for years. I think we have a couple people who it's been 10 years and they're still, I mean, they're still looking for information to figure out what they've been dealing with. So my point on that is you can't expect all of this to happen overnight. Okay? So even when I learned of what narcissism was, and like I said this a few minutes ago, I mean, it still took me about another year to really break free from it, to really get to the point where it didn't have a hold on me. I mean, that's not to say that it still doesn't have a hold on me. I mean, there's still things that are, I mean, obviously there's still things that are going on, but where I'm at today is better than where I was, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And now, I don't want you to take that and have that be what I'm trying to think of the right word, a demoralizing truth. I want you to look at it and say, okay, this takes a long time, so the fact that it's taking a long time is normal. It's a normal part of the process, and there's nothing really wrong with you. There's nothing, I mean, you have to, everyone's path is just a tiny bit different. It's all very similar, but it's also different, right? What might take you a year to get through took me, let's say 4 years to get to this point. It may take someone else 6 years. It may take someone else a couple of months. But I will tell you this, though, when you get to the point where you're at this point where you're watching these videos and you're learning, that's when the time starts decreasing. That's whenever you start really making some major strides. So don't look at this and say to yourself, oh my God, I have years more to deal with this. No, I don't think so. I think that with the proper education of yourself, learning about your situation, learning skills and tools to deal with it is going to significantly help you and speed up that recovery. You just have to be open to learning about yourself and learning about more things. But the main thing here is I don't want you guys to go through some of the stuff that I went through where I was really demoralized. I mean, I can remember times, and in these pages, I know, I haven't looked in a while, but I can remember, I know that I wrote, is this ever going to end? Is this my life? Is this ever going to change? And there were days upon days upon days where I felt that. Now, granted, we're talking about before I knew about covert narcissism and narcissistic abuse and personality disorders and all of that. So, the main thing to remember is that you can heal from this. This is something that you can heal from. You have to give yourself the time to heal you have to give yourself the time to heal. And you need to accept that. You need to recognize that you have to, that's a part of the process that you have to go through. And my hope is that if you can see where I'm at, and you can look at some of the comments of what other people have said, and you can see that the progress they have made. And to be honest, there's some people where you can look at some of the comments that they've made, and just in a short amount of time, you can see a difference in their attitude, in their stress level, and what their comments are. Now, that doesn't mean that they're still not going to have bad days. It doesn't mean that they're not going to get triggered by some new piece of information. It also doesn't mean that you're just not going to wake up one day and just have a bad day. I mean, I still have those, I mean, there'll be times where I'll just, for whatever reason, it's, things will just kind of tip a certain direction, and I'll be a little down, a little upset about it. And that's normal, I mean, but the difference is as you learn more and you figure this stuff out, when those things happen, you're better equipped to deal with it. You're better equipped to recognize what's going on, and you're going to have more tools in your toolbox, like I said before, to be able to deal with it. The problem is that when you look at this before you really knew, before you got to this stage, and you didn't know what you were dealing with, and when something came flying at you, you didn't know what to think about it. All you knew is that you were freaked out, you were scared, you were worried about what was going to happen. It emotionally triggered you, it emotionally dysregulated you, and it messed with your thinking and your perception of what was going on. And that's by design. We talked about that before. That's exactly what your abusive ex is attempting to do. They're attempting to pull you into that vortex of pain and keep you there as long as possible. The good part about it is you get to choose when you want to get out of it. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have a situation where significant damage has happened to you and you're dealing with the outcome, or not the outcome, the ramifications of that it doesn't, that will increase the time that you have to deal with it. But just know that this all gets easier with time. Your perspective changes, and you learn ways to deal with what's happening, to process it, and to move on. Now, when I go back to these pages, right, all this stuff, and the crazy part is I wrote, that was almost every day for a couple of years. I don't do that anymore. And it's really bizarre because things are going pretty good. I should be writing because things are going good, but I've got so many other things that are occupying my time that I don't do it anymore. So the message out of that is what you're going through isn't going to last forever. Now, you can choose for it to last forever. If you go into the vortex of pain and you choose to stay there, and you choose to stay angry and bitter and all that stuff, that can last. If you end up in that situation, that can last for years and years. It can last for decades. But you also have the choice to say, I release it, I'm not going to stay there anymore, and not allow yourself to get stuck in that mess. So, all right, so that's what I wanted to wrap it up with. I was trying to make a little bit of more of an upbeat video because I know the last few videos have been a little intense. Yeah, if you guys have some comments you want to add to the discussion in the comments, add how you've, how your process has worked. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.